welcome or welcome back to the channel. This week I wanted to quick go over planning a book launch because I am smack dab in the middle of getting ready to release my newsletter magnet on July 16th of this year, which is 2021, for any of my future viewers out there. And I figured while I am in the midst of planning and executing this book launch plan of mine, I might as well make a video about it and show you guys what I'm up to. But before we get into that, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Nicole Wolf. I'm a paranormal romance writer and mommy of two adorable little kiddos. And on this channel, I talk about all things books, writing, and mommy related things, which is mostly my kids make random appearances, or sometimes my oldest will sometimes do some videos with me, and I also just, do some random life videos. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. This video is writing / publishing related, and I'm going to take you through how I am planning my book release for my newsletter magnet, which is coming out July. And also I am kind of doing like a dual book launch strategy, where I'm kind of planning my launching strategy for my newsletter magnet alongside my launch strategy for my actual first book release, like that's completely available for sale everywhere. Because my newsletter magnet, you can only get the ebook if you sign up for my newsletter. My next book, however, is not going to be newsletter exclusive. It's going to be available on all retailers in ebook and paperback format instead of just paperback format like my newsletter magnet. Anyway, so that is what I'm doing today. So let's get right into it. Okay, so first things first, what is a book launch plan? And it is kind of exactly what it says. It is a plan around what strategies you're going to use when you launch your book. That is what a book launch plan is. Why do you need one? Basically, this is just so you, as the primary marketer of your book, kind of know what steps you need to take and what the deadlines are for those different steps when you're releasing your book out into the public. That way, people know that it's there, because if you don't have any kind of book launch strategy and you don't do any steps to do any kind of book launch strategy, then no one is going to know that your book is even available. That is kind of why you need one if you ever plan on selling books beyond your immediate family. Okay, so what does a book launch plan look like? Now, this answer is going to be a little different for everyone. So to start, I'm going to show you what my book launch plan looks like. However, it does not have to look like this. This is just one of many options. To start, I'm going to quick show you. I got this off of Bethany Atazada's channel. Again, I reference her a lot. Her channel is down in the description. She kind of did one iteration of this where she uses a calendar to set up her book launch plan. Now, one of the key differences between mine and hers is she uses a poster board that has 3 or 4 months all on that one poster board, where I have a whiteboard where I just do 1 month at a time. And then I use, this is actually a this is another like whiteboard type calendar that I use to do more long-term strategies into the future. That's beyond the 1 month that I have up on the big board, which is the current month that we're in. I've seen a lot of different kind of book launches, book launch plans. So some of them will be on a calendar. Some of them I've seen, they actually just have a notebook dedicated to their book launch plan, and that's where they write down all of their strategies that they want to execute, and then that's where they'll put their deadlines for each of those steps. and some people will use like a bullet journal type of thing. So it all depends on what you think will work best for you. Are you best with something more mobile, which would be like a notebook, or like one of those weekly planners that are in like a notebook form? Or are you more of I need like a big visual reminder, like I am, and apparently Bethany Atazada is, where you kind of need something that's not necessarily as mobile. I don't really need it to be mobile. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so it's fine if it just stays in my house all the time, since that's where I do all of my book planning anyway. Anyway, so it really depends on what your specific needs are and what kind of a writer, planner, marketer you are. As far as a timeline goes, because I know a lot of you are going to be wondering, okay, you're telling me what it is and what it should look like, but what kind of things go on a book launch plan, and how far in advance should I be making one? Okay, so this is again going to be different for everyone, because first of all, everybody writes and releases books in a different timeline. So there are people out there who literally release a book every month. I don't know how. There are people who release more than one book a month. I really don't know how they do that. But anyway, so their book launch plans timelines are going to be way, way shorter than someone like me, where I am only releasing 1 or 2 books every year. So my book launch plan usually is 3 to 6 months rather than only a few weeks, compared to those who are launching and releasing and publishing a lot more often than I am. So again, you're going to need to kind of sit down and think about what does my ideal publishing schedule look like this year? Do I want to release a book every month? Do I want to release a book every 3 months? Do I want to release every 6 months, once a year, whatever it is? And then what you need to do is kind of piece together when it would be best to start kind of releasing that information to the public. So you're probably, I would say you probably don't want a book launch plan that is like 2 or 3 years in advance, because you most likely don't know what you're going to be writing in 2 years. Or, you don't have, a lot of writers don't have that strict of a publishing schedule that they know exactly what they're going to be writing and what their brain is going to be cooperating to write in 2 years' time. However, a lot of times you can usually have a good idea of what to expect from your publishing schedule during that year. So like for 2021, you would know what you're working on for that year. So that could just be because I live in the US, and kind of like January, beginning of the year, is like a big planning time of the year. Like everybody's making their yearly goals and yearly plans and all that stuff. So that's always a good time to think about what your publishing schedule will look like for that year. And then once you have kind of what your publishing goals are for the year, that's when you can kind of come up with your book launch plans for those books that you plan on publishing for that year. Like for me, I publish about 1 or 2 books a year. So my book launch plan usually does not exceed 6 months, because I usually don't have a strong enough grasp on what exactly the story is going to be, who the main characters are, and kind of like the big picture things that you kind of need for marketing until about 6 months out from release. Sometimes it'll be earlier than that, and sometimes it won't be, but I usually aim to start around 3 to 6 month mark. But for like my newsletter magnet, I kind of started a little later because I knew this newsletter magnet wasn't going to be quite as big of a launch for me, because a lot of it is not available just for people to buy. Like, they have to sign up for my newsletter in order to get it. So it's a whole different kind of launch strategy because of that newsletter exclusivity. So I have to go through a whole lot of different routes, which is something, again, you need to think about when you're coming up with your book launch plan is, what am I releasing? Where am I releasing it? And what avenues are best for that kind of platform? So, like, for me, I'm going to take me for example just because it's easiest. For me, I am releasing a newsletter magnet that is available exclusively through a newsletter. So there's no point in me doing any kind of big, like, Amazon advertising or anything like that, because the ebook isn't even available to buy on Amazon. So rather than spending my time and effort on a platform that makes no sense for this specific launch, I might as well, I'm putting all of my effort into those platforms that make sense for a newsletter magnet, which is like BookFunnel, Story Origin, Prolific Works, Facebook groups that are specifically targeted for my my genre, which is paranormal romance, and kind of trying to spread the word within those social media avenues that, hey, I have a free newsletter magnet. If you sign up for my newsletter, you can get this book, which is a full-length prequel book, for free. So that was kind of part of my book launch strategy, was figuring out, where do I need to focus my efforts? Okay, so that's kind of like big picture idea of what the timeline will look like depending on your specific situation, what it's going to look like, why you need one, and all of that good stuff. But now I'm going to take you in and kind of walk you through my specific book launch plan. So let me turn you guys around. Okay, guys, so here is what my calendar looks like for the month of June. And today is right here. So the reason I like to use a whiteboard like this is because then I can change, it's easy to change things. You don't have to use a whiteboard to do that. You can also use what I have here. I also have a wipe off calendar, but you could use a regular calendar and then just use these little like post-it sticky things, and then you can move the stickies around as you need it. This is another thing that I got off of Bethany Achazada's channel, and then I transferred it. I already had this whiteboard calendar. I bought it at Walmart like years ago. So I transferred everything onto this big calendar, so it'd be easy for me to see and get a visual reminder on a more regular basis. So I don't have to actually like pull a book or a notebook or even a calendar out of like off of a bookshelf or whatever. It's actually like hanging on my wall and I could see it all the time. Okay, so first I'm going to go over kind of why you're seeing the different colors. So purple is for YouTube. Red is for anything to do with my actual manuscript or like main marketing things, like my social media accounts or things like that. Green is for anything that actually costs money, like proof copies, or if I had to do an actual setup of something. In fact, on right here on the 3rd of June where it says BookFunnel setup, that should be in green because BookFunnel does cost. And then the blue is kind of my in-person or person-to-person contact things that I had going on. Like I had some fundraisers and baby showers and things of that nature that were going on. You'll see I have like arranged newsletter swaps and reach out to reviewers. That's something that's an actual person-to-person individual contact. So basically what I did is I took this checklist, which I will put on the screen, that I quick typed up in Google Docs. I took this checklist and I just put it on a calendar and broke it down like day by day, week by week. Like, when exactly am I planning on accomplishing the different things on this checklist? So I will have a link in the description box below for you to get a copy of this checklist. That way you can print it out, and either you could just check it off as you do it, or if you want to do what I'm doing and actually put it on a calendar, you could do that. But this is just my overall checklist that I need to do with each book launch, or my goals to do for each book launch, I guess it would be. So anyway, you can see I have kind of more than one book going on. I have my BD right here. That is for Bitten by Darkness. And then you'll also see I have TBT, which is Tempted by Twilight, which is the next book. And so while I'm finishing up Bitten by Darkness, I'm also getting things rolling for the next book as well. Okay guys, so I'm going to quick go over everything that I had on this checklist of mine. I kind of broke it down into two categories. The first category is the actual product, and then the second category is the marketing part of it. Okay, so on the product side of things, it's going to be obviously the writing, the revising, getting it to beta readers, getting it to an editor, making any final revisions, getting the book formatted in however many formats you need it. For me, I needed it formatted in ebook and paperback. Getting the cover designed, again, for however many formats you're using. I needed it paperback and ebook. And then purchasing your ISBNs for your book. If you are publishing wide, if you are publishing on Amazon only, you could skip that step. Uploading the manuscript to KDP, and in my case also uploading it to Ingram Spark. A final proofread, and then setting up your blurb and description for your product page. And then and making sure you're adjusting the front and back matter of your book to reflect any updated links that you want readers to have access to. So like in my case, I have to update the front and back matter of my Bitten by Darkness so that I have a pre-order link for the Tempted by Twilight. And then I also have where I wanted to include the first like 1 to 2 chapters of the following book as part of the back matter. And then on the marketing side of things, you're going to be looking at setting up your email or newsletter. For me, I also had to set up my newsletter welcome auto sequence because I wanted that automated so that I didn't have to worry about sending something out quite as often. I can kind of walk my people through, my subscribers through an automated sequence, and then that would kind of weed out anybody who kind of just signed up to get the free book and isn't really interested in my newsletter. That would weed those people out, and then everybody that gets through the sequence gets dropped onto my regular newsletter that I send out once a month. And then, another thing on the product page is ordering proof copies of your book. If you're doing paperback or hardbacks, you're going to want to order proof copies to make sure that everything is good. Okay, and then back on the marketing side, we're going to be setting up all of my reader magnet offers for Bitten by Darkness. If you're not doing a newsletter magnet and you're just publishing regularly, like for sale, then you would have different places that you're setting this up as. So for me, I was setting up on different platforms such as my website, my social media, Prolific Works, BookFunnel, Story Origin, and YouTube. And then I also had set up the pre-order for the next book as part of my marketing plan, because that kind of is marketing the next book if you already have it up for pre-order for people to get at the end of the previous book. And then I also have set up any kind of release day or pre-order giveaways, and then set up the marketing plan for my different places that I wanted to share that I'm having a book coming out, like my social media, my newsletter, my website, and any book promo sites, especially. So book promo sites, like for Reader Magnet, that's going to be like BookFunnel, Story Origin, and Prolific Works, and those kind of things. If you're selling the book, so like for Tempted by Twilight, those book promotion sites are going to be more like Voracious Readers and Fussy Librarian and things like that, where they are you're buying a spot for them to send out your new release or your discounted book out to their subscribers. Okay, and then that is everything that I have on the checklist right now. The nice thing about this checklist is you can add to it when you come up with a new idea. So that is everything that I have put into my book launch plan. Pretty sure that's what I called it. Anyway, that's everything. I kind of broke down everything. As far as timeline goes for all of these things, I can't really give you a specific timeline because, as I said in the beginning, everybody's timeline is different. If you're publishing once a month, your timeline for these different steps are going to look a lot different than my timeline. So it's all about just being really honest with yourself and asking yourself, what can I realistically do in this amount of time? So like, write a book. What is a realistic expectation that you could actually write a book in? Like me, I tried to write a book in 3 months before, and it did not happen. So now I know, at this moment in my life, I cannot write a book in 3 months. I just can't. That might change later, but right now I know I can't do that. So, and that's kind of like the first question you need to ask yourself, because how long it takes you to write a book is going to dictate how often you can publish. And then obviously you're going to need to ask yourself, okay, it takes me this long to write a book. How long does it take me to do all of the revisions and the beta reading and the editing and the formatting and the cover design and all of those other steps? Like, how long will it take me to do all of that? If this is your first time, don't rush things. Give yourself time to get through everything. And start early. Start as early as you can. So if you're writing the book and you think this book is going to take you 6 months to write, I mean, you can always get rolling on like the cover design early, like when you start writing the book, because some cover designers actually do book out that far in advance. Okay, guys, so that is everything that I have on this subject. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave a comment down below. I do read and reply to every single one. If you like this kind of content and want to see more of it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell so you know when I post all of these indie publishing videos. And I will see everybody in my next video. Bye, guys.